Hello and greetings. This is Larry Tintorelli with a brief educational blog and video for Blue Chip Daily Trend Report. Today, we're going to take a look at how to identify a major market low in real time. And what we're going to talk about and take a look at is what I saw in place in the market to call a major low on Friday in the S&P. And I'm going to walk you through some real-time screenshots, charts, and the data of what I saw to lead me to believe that a low was in the S&P, and also to share that with the website members. So before we get started, quick touch on the disclaimer. You can read that at your convenience. It says that everything in the video is for informational purposes only. So we're going to take a look at the S&P, and I'm going to start it and say, in this blog and video, I'm going to walk you through a real-time chart. So this is not a prediction that S&P has made the final low for this cycle, because as we know, the markets are very, very news driven. We don't know what the next news bite is that comes out, but S&P did put in a sharp recovery move so far, as well as many leading large cap stocks. And what you're going to see is I only used the data that was available to me. So we're going to start Monday, September 20th. This was the recent low for the S&P, and we'll take a look at the chart. But I posted in the morning on the members premium Twitter feed that with the S&P drifting lower, I'm not looking at testing any pullback buys for right now. So what I do is, once the markets and leading stocks start to pull back, is I know where my downside risk levels are, but I always have a potential buy list that if I see what I'm looking for in the market and in those stocks, then I know exactly where I want to go. So we'll go into the afternoon right before the lows. So at 1:07, I posted for members that the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline issues was at negative 27.25, the lowest level since the October 2020 lows in the market. So we can see on there a very low oversold reading in the NYSE advanced decline. So then about an hour and a half later, I posted, so this was still on Monday, right before the lows in the S&P, that there were 7 S&P stocks up on the day out of 500, which usually indicates a near-term washout level. And then we can see later on in the day, S&P moved back higher. 50 stocks were higher on the day. But what my observation was here, and I've been actively trading in the market since 1998, and what my observation was here is that with only 7 stocks out of 500 up on the day, the market is usually at very, very oversold levels where they're starting to flush out all of the sellers. And we could coincide that with the oversold NYAD reading and realize that we should be pretty close to a low. So the key post, and we'll spend some time on this, 3:05 p.m. So S&P daily RSI reached 30.36. That was the first test of 30 since the March 2020 lows. A lot of oversold readings in place. I'd want to see a move back to the upside, but we'll take a look at that actual post. So this was posted 3:05 p.m. on Monday. We can see the chart was set up just before then, but we can see that the S&P 500 daily RSI at 30.36, that was the lowest level going back to the March 2020 lows. And to me, that indicated that plus 7 stocks up on the day, plus the New York Stock Exchange, that they were pretty well oversold in the market. So I posted that at 3:05, and you can see from looking at the S&P chart, the S&P put in the low just a bit right after 3:15, about 3:20 on the day. So about 15 minutes after I posted the S&P daily RSI, S&P started to move much higher. I posted at the end after the close, 52-point move higher in the S&P, which was constructive. RSI moved up a little bit. And then also later on after the close, New York advanced decline issues, NYSE, closed up at 2,359 negative, but reached very oversold at negative 2805 intraday which went back to 2020. And what I shared with the website members is I've seen oversold get more oversold, but not very often from these levels. And what's important to keep in mind is on that day, the media, a lot of very well-known financial TV personalities were talking about sell signals in place. Things were going to get much worse. September is a bad time. And all I did was I just shared with members in real time the fact that the S&P was extremely oversold by daily RSI. New York Stock Exchange was extremely oversold, and the market in general was oversold. So later that night in our members daily video, I covered these readings again. S&P oversold, New York Stock Exchange oversold, and that these often mark near-term lows, and that I was going to be looking for some follow through. So I also posted that night a recap of a tweet that I posted May 14th that showed when triple Q came off the 34 RSI, and this was something that I discussed with members also in real time back in May. This marked the May lows, triple Q 34 RSI, ARC 28 RSI. These all indicated, as I commented back in May, that it could indicate a near-term selling washout. It did. That was the lows for triple Q and ARC. And I just posted that reminder that often that 28 to 34 daily RSI range often marks major market lows. So the next morning, Tuesday, pre-market, I sign in generally about 8 o'clock to 8:15. And I shared with website members that I think that there were two approaches here. One is more defensive, expecting lower markets, taper is an issue, basically what's been in the media. And the second is to just look at the percentages and probabilities with S&P and the New York Stock Exchange index coming off of major oversold levels going back to 2020, and to look for a move higher, which is where I am. So I very clearly shared with website members that of the two approaches, things are going to get much worse, or I think that the lows are in, at least for now. I was clearly in the camp of I'm expecting those oversold levels to hold. I shared with members also a few of the stronger charts for those that were looking at pullback ideas like I was. And then what I did for the chart of the day, I often post a top technical chart idea. But what I posted on Tuesday morning was once again that the S&P was oversold, New York Stock Exchange was oversold, and that members that I was and that members should look for some type of a reversal off the lows in the markets. I also talked about a pullback buy that I was looking for, even with the FOMC coming up. So I made my first pullback buy on Tuesday. I made two last week, but my first pullback buy this week was in snow in the technology sector. That chart's been up a couple percent since then. And then in the Wednesday night video, so that was on Tuesday. And then in the Wednesday night video after the FOMC, I noted in the nightly recap for subscribers that there were two major positive catalysts on the day. The FOMC came out with their statement, and there was no real change to their timeline as far as tapering and raising interest rates. And also there was positive news that came out of China as far as Evergrande and what their situation is here. So I took those two positive catalysts, also the S&P major oversold levels, and I was looking for a move higher in the markets. And then I followed up with the fact that I'm still in the oversold levels reached, expecting a move higher camp with the two positive catalysts. And that was late Wednesday evening. So on Thursday, I put some cash to work based on that. Affirm, I took two positions. Affirm in the technology sector, long at 114. It actually closed the day at 126. It was up 11% on the day. So Affirm was the number one performing large cap stock in the market yesterday. I took this position, and it was a nice mover to start with. And I shared with members, this was one of my top potential return versus risk ideas here. It turned out to be the top performer that day. Now I've got a longer term time frame, so I really like the great start, but I'm looking for a bigger move higher if we can get it. And then we'll see Affirm up on the day. And then the second position I took was Wells Fargo. in the financial sector, and that also is working pretty well. But if we go and take a look back to the S&P chart, so when I posted this and I shared this with you, it was the S&P at that time was 43.18 on the index. And if we'll take a look at the chart, that was right about here, mid-afternoon, mid to late afternoon on the S&P. And we can see that since then, since I shared that oversold daily RSI reading, S&P moved much higher, little pullback the next day, and then it's been higher and higher the day since. So the key thing, and what I really wanted to identify, is that all that I did, and to share, the educational part of this, all that I did was I eliminated the news media. I eliminated anybody's prediction, no matter how long they've been on TV or how many social media followers they have. And all I did was I looked at the data that was available, and the data said the S&P was oversold. It said the New York Stock Exchange was oversold, and it said that these markets were at levels that they hadn't seen since the major 2020 lows. So based on that, I shared that and my experience. I shared that with the website members and let them know that I was looking for this level to mark the oversold lows. And it's been a nice move since then, nice positions that are working. But the key thing, once again, I just took the data that was available, no predictions, and went from there. So hopefully that was educational. My website, if you're interested, Blue Chip Daily Trend Report, bluechipdaily.com. If you go to our Join Now page, you can see what the member benefits are. And those include basically the premium Twitter feed, which I just walked you through. Also real-time updates of all my buys and sells. All my trading account activity is emailed and posted right away. I do a nightly video similar to this one, going over best technical ideas. Then we've got the weekly updates, the weekly top 25 stocks list. These are my top 25 large cap ideas across the board: technology, healthcare, energy, all the 11 S&P sectors. And then we've got a weekly high beta top 10 list of more growth oriented stocks like Affirm, Upstart has been on the list a few times recently, for those that are looking for more growth oriented ideas. So I appreciate everyone's time, and I hope to see you on our website shortly. Thank you.